Ultraman!
As most of you guys know, I'm still new to Ultraman, and since I want to expand my Ultraman knowledge, I decided to watch the New Generation era, beginning with Ginga. Ultraman Ginga was released in 2013, which is the same year as that one Kamen Rider show with the banana. The series follows Hikaru, who is your generic shonen protagonist, which I don't mind, especially since I watch a lot of anime. He just returned to his hometown and decides to live at the school that he used to go to. He gets curious about his family's sacred item and decides to check what's inside, and there he finds the Giga Spark and Ultraman Toro. Yeah, I don't know why they have Toro here instead of a better Ultra. Anyways, Toro explained that the Ultras and him were having a fight against the kaijus, but then a mysterious foe appeared and turned them into a marketable toy line. Toro is the only one unconscious because he was protected by the other Ultras and his parents. Toro acts like a mentor to Hikaru, even treats him like a son, almost like he knows how to be a parent or something.
Mommy, when is Daddy coming back with the milk?
The main bad guy sends the Giga Spark and sends his minions to cause chaos and destruction. They do this by manipulating people and turning them into the dark side. I don't know about you guys, but this sounds like something more Kamen Rider than Ultraman. Anyways, it's up to Hikaru to stop them by transforming into Ultraman. Wait a minute, that's a kaiju. Yeah, in this series, Hikaru must turn into a kaiju first, then he can transform into Ultraman. Which is kind of cool because the kaiju gets their own transformation sequence. As the series continues, it does get a bit annoying. I think the best way to describe this is like if a Kamen Rider needs to be in his base form in order to transform into his different forms or his final form. I think that would be really annoying, especially if it's a 40 episode, 60 episode long series. Thankfully, Ginga is the same flake as a seasonal anime. The suit for Ginga is amazing. The blue gemstones are very nice and clean, but if you're not a big fan of blue, don't worry. Ginga does have different forms and they do change the color of his gemstones. Personally, I'm a big fan of his yellow form, known as Ginga Thunderbolt, mainly because it looks like he's turning Super Saiyan.
And this is to go even further beyond!
Toro tells Hikaru to tell nobody that he's Ultraman or about the Giga Spark, but somehow his friends find out that he's Ultraman. I guess it's a good time to talk about his friends. Mizuzu is one of Hikaru's friends, and I really enjoyed her, mainly because she is a sweetheart and she is quite wholesome. My only problem with her is that every time she's on screen with Hikaru, they start flirting with each other. And you think by the end of the series they might get together, but they sadly don't. And this really annoyed me, especially since I am a big fan of shoujo or romance series. There's also Kenta and Chikasa. They're more or less the same character. And lastly, we have Tomoya, who is my least favorite character besides Toro. He has a giant robot, which is pretty cool, but I don't know what else to say about this character. This character really bored me. For our villain cast, we have Alien Valky, Alien Icarus, and Alien Naka Gray. Out of these three minions, I really enjoy Alien Valky more. He was a silly character who somehow maxed out his stealth skill, because at random portions of the episodes, he just randomly appeared almost next to the cast. Like I mentioned earlier, these guys are just causing chaos and manipulating people, and most of the people they manipulate aren't really bad people at all. So most of the time when Hikaru has to fight them, he likes to use Talk no Jutsu, but if that doesn't work, then he has no choice but to beat them up. For example, in the second episode, there was a biker dude who was a massive jerk. The villains didn't even need to do anything. When Hikaru has to fight him, he asks why he enjoys chasing people down, and the biker guy replies by saying, because it's fun. And after hearing that, Ultraman Giga Chad decides to show him no mercy and even throws him up to space. And then hits him with his finishing move. Speaking about fights, one of my favorites had to be from the recap episode, where he fights a boxer and somehow it becomes a WWE main event. I actually got bored one day and decided to add fighting game sound effects to that, and it kind of works.
Get ready for the next battle.
Can't escape from crossing fate. Fight!
Got you!
Attack!
You wreck!
Eat this! Breakaway!
It's all or nothing!
Yes! Cool! Good! Great! Sweet! Awesome! Wonderful! Beautiful! Excellent! Stylish! Fantastic! Amazing! Incredible! Mighty! Marvelous! Uncanny! Crazy! Galactic!
Death shall be your reward!
You got a black belt and stupid if you think you're gonna beat me. Ultimate Assault!
Danger!
Failure is beneath you!
Slap!
I must admit, beating the living snot out of you was a great honor.
Something that I've been trying to avoid talking about is the budget. I don't know if you can tell by the footage, but the show's budget is really bad. I try my best not to get bothered by this, but the show came out in 2013, which is the same year as Gaim and the Dancing Dinosaurs. If this show came out in the early 2000s, I'd probably forgive it, but it came out in 2013. There's one more thing I want to talk about before the ending, and that is Ginga's opening theme song. It's a very nice, angelic song. It's also a very wholesome song that captures the show perfectly. However, my only problem with this song is that it is used as the character's fighting theme. In some fights, it makes sense to play this theme, but most of the time, it doesn't work. Because like I said, it's a very wholesome song. It doesn't really have the same energy as something like a Camera Meteor's theme. Speaking of which, that song has no right to go that hard. After fighting many foes, we're finally introduced to the main bad guy, Dark Lugia, and he is quite menacing. When Hikaru was transforming, this boy said and kicked him mid-transformation. Guys, that is so badass. And I almost forgot to mention this, but he is way too big. As final bosses go for Ultraman, Dark Lugia has to be one of my favorites so far. As badass as Dark Lugia is, he is no match to the power of friendship. And with enough friendship power, they were able to make Toro big again. And for the first time ever, he's actually more useful than Sakura. Toro remembers that he's not the main character, so he revives his son to finish the fight. The final fight between Ginga and Dark Lugia is actually really cool. They even travel to the moon to fight. However, the budget for this fight is still an issue. But because how hyped this was, I actually turned off my monkey brain and enjoyed this. Ginga was able to beat Dark Lugia by asserting his dominance. With Dark Lugia defeated, the Sparkles were able to return to the original form. And before leaving, Ginga gives the gang one final message.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye.
As someone who is still new to the Ultraman franchise, I think this is a really good show. Don't get me wrong, it still has its problems, but I think overall it's still good or better yet just decent. But when it comes to Hikaru's relationship with Misizuru, I think that's the peak. That's like really good writing. But I'm still upset that they don't get together by the end. However, this isn't the end of Ginga because it got a season 2, baby. I'll talk about that one in the future. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time.
Don't be sorry.